Welcome back to my channel, everyone. This is Mrs. Sprinkle and Wellness, and I have a bob. No, no, this is my Thanksgiving bob, and I'm just so proud of it. But yes, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. In this video, we're going to talk about the part 1 of the Diddy documentary, The Reckoning, on Netflix, done by 50 Cent. Now, the reason why I chose, well, I actually saw a lot of the Diddy documentaries. I saw the one, this is my dog. I saw the one on TMZ, which was, it was good. It was really just a lot of people talking, and Harvey from TMZ doing like some commentary and some interviews with people. Anything that 50 Cent does is like really, really good. I'm a Power fan, and I'm also like the spinoff fan. Like, I'm currently watching Force, which I'm also going to put on TikTok. Shameless plug, check me out on TikTok. I officially named myself the Queen of Shorts because I'll be all throughout your shorts with my opinions and everything. So yeah, that's me and my wellness. So I'm officially deemed the Queen of Shorts. But yeah, on my TikTok, I was going to start doing Force. And who else does he does? Oh, Raising Kanan. 50 Cent has Raising Kanan, which I really like. So I really like anything like 50 Cent puts his hands on. Because for some reason, I don't know if he was, I know he was the executive producer. But sometimes I'll be feeling like the executive producer means that you just give up for the project, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have like a creative say in the project. But I really do feel like 50 Cent in this new one with The Reckoning about Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs, Diddy Diddler, I really think that he kind of had a say in this, because the way that this documentary went, it was actually pretty good the way the documentary flowed. So yeah, I'm gonna get into hold on one second, I'm gonna look up the actual name really quickly since we're in a video, because this is how we doing things. Let me just do 50 Cent. 50 Cent. Yes, it's a 4-part documented series on Netflix, and it's called the Sean Combs The Reckoning, and I watched part 1. So I'm going to break down part 1, and then I'm also going to watch 2, 3, and 4 and break that down. But just to give you a little bit of background about the show, the documentary series, docu-series, it is 1 hour long for just part 1. And then I looked at part 2 and part 3, and they looked like it was about 1 hour too. So it looks like it's going to be a 4-hour docu-series, which is a good thing because I kind of like to watch all this stuff, and he did drop it all on, one day. So part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4 are all there. So I'm going to check them all out. So here's part 1. Here's my take on part 1. Of course, I'm Mrs. Sprinkle of Wellness, where wellness meets entertainment. I like to give a wellness perspective of what I observe or what I see. Sometimes I can get a little messy, but just a wellness perspective of what I observe and what I see. Okay, so first of all, how was everybody's holiday weekend? Okay, my holiday weekend was pretty good. I spent a lot of time with my family. It was my first holiday weekend without my mom. My mother died this year. Thanks for your condolences. And it's really, what I did was I made sure I planned something, so I did not search around and get sad and get upset or even cook, because the last thing I really wanted to do was cook, because then I would have been thinking about my mom who used to cook and blah 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 blah. And then it gave me a reason to get a bob. Again, check the bob out. Okay, of course I am the Queen of Shorts. Check my shorts out on TikTok. Check my videos out on Instagram, Sprinkles of Wellness for you. TikTok is Miss Sprinkle of Wellness. Of course, my YouTube page. And yeah, so Again, check me out on all platforms. See, I switched up the background because, my upstairs office is being used, but now I'm downstairs and I'm going with the flow. I kind of like this, so I might continue to do this. So 50 Cent's documentary, he executive produced it.
How did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figured most journalists would not disclose their sources.
The recordings give viewers an intimate look at Combs's mindset ahead of his criminal trial, even conversations with his legal team.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day.
Perhaps.
What was he intending to use it for?
I have no idea what he was doing that for.
I mean, you're talking.
It really did trip me out because in the beginning scenes of the documentary, you see that Diddy had a camera crew with him in the hotel. Remember, he went to the hotel in September and they said that he was there and he was awaiting to hear what was going to happen. So yeah, he had a camera crew in that hotel. It appears like, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below, but I've been a Diddy fan for a while. So I'm from New York too. And some of the stuff I've heard about Kim Porter in a book way before this Diddy situation even came out. I've heard little things about Diddy just being from New York and just, eventually people know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody from New York. So yeah, but I've been following this whole situation with him and it's hard not to say that you can't be a Diddy fan and be from New York. Like that's crazy. Like being from New York, you got to be somewhat of a Diddy Bop fan. I mean, between all the people that they mentioned in his docuseries to the people that he actually helped with the swag and the music to the people who he actually produced and was the manager of, you really got to give it to Diddy, his career. He's a weird guy, freaky guy, but his career was really good in my opinion. It's just my opinion. So the first scene takes place in him in a hotel talking to his lawyer. And from my observation, it looked like he was a tiny bit frantic. Like it was like he looked like he was unsure of what was going to happen. He went to the hotel because he was told by his lawyer, I guess, to go to the hotel. But he was just like, this isn't looking good. He's like talking to his lawyer. You can tell the Caucasian voice on the other end. And the voice is just like, yeah, this is what we got to do. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, yeah, like, this doesn't look good. So he appeared to be just not 100% himself, but he still had a camera crew and this was live footage. And I really want to know how 50 Cent, sir, how did you get that footage? Like, did you make a deal with Diddy or something? Because you have unseen footage before. So the one thing I will say I'm just going to jump back to the other documentaries. That's the one thing that separated this documentary from a lot of documentaries. There was some similarities. If you've seen other documentaries, especially like the one on Tubi, and the other ones that have been out there, if you happen to see them, this one is a little bit more professionally produced. The rollout is professional. It's a little bit better. And again, that unseen footage that starts off all of this is spoiler alerts, by the way, that starts off the documentary. That's unseen footage. Okay. So something happened he had agreed with something. So some of the people, of course, they reuse some of the people, like the girl from Diddy Dirty Money. I think her name is Khalil. Don't give me the line. Harper. His old assistant spoke. Mark Curry's in, spoiler alert, they're in it. I'll be sure. Eric Sermon. Some of the people, a jury. That's new. They have a jury in there. Roger Bonds. So some people they reuse, but some are only for this documentary. So again, you got to give it to 50 Cent for just going outside of the box and grabbing our attention. So thank you. So let me see what else is next. What else? Okay. So after that first scene, you go into Diddy's personal life, the beginning stages, which kind of brings me back to like, okay, so I'm from Co-op City in the Bronx, New York. And from my understanding or what I've seen on the docu-series, Diddy is actually from Mount Vernon, which is like 10 minutes away from where I used to stay. Like I used to have my best friend before she moved, she lived in Mount Vernon. So I'm very familiar with the area. So him, Heavy D, they all went to Mount St. Michael's in the Bronx. I think that's in the Bronx because I went to Catholic high school in the Bronx. So they went to Mount St. Michael's together, and that's how they knew each other. And Heavy D, he knew Andre Harrell. So Diddy kept asking him, introduce me to Andre Harrell, introduce me to Andre Harrell, introduce me to Andre Harrell. And then finally, Heavy D went and said, okay, cool. I'll introduce you to Andre. No problem. Introduced him. Okay. Then they go into Albie Shore because it was Heavy D and Albie Shore were the first, I guess not like the first couple of artists, but they were on Uptown at the time. And Diddy was an intern at the time. And they say, spoiler alert, they say in the docuseries that Diddy was even plotting on Kim Porter, like while she was with Albie Shore. And he was telling other people, I'm going to take her. She's going to be mine. And they said that's like something that he used to do. Like he used to tell people like, yeah, that's going to be my girl. And then, he would do whatever it takes to get with that person. Okay. Fast forward going into a couple of months. So then they go into Diddy living with Andre Harrell, which I did not know they lived together. I mean, I'm pretty sure they said this, but this one, I don't know. It just was so much better the way that this docu-series was rolled out. So Andre Harrell actually ended up getting a new mansion, and Diddy came up with some story on how he couldn't live with his mama anymore. And he basically was saying, I'm living with you. Okay. So then Tim Patterson was also in the movie. This was his childhood best friend, Diddy's childhood best friend. And he knew a lot about, Diddy's mother, father, because they used to live like right next to each other and stuff like that. And basically he was saying that Tim was saying that Diddy's lifestyle was not necessarily my lifestyle. How Tim had put it is, my parents were actively involved. When it comes to Diddy, like his father wasn't really actively involved. And, his mother was a bit of a hustler. And they go into how Diddy's mother and sometimes, I think In and Out the father would hustle in Harlem. So that's how they got their like Harlem swag. And Tim used to go with them with Diddy, and they would be, in these like parties or whatever. And in the parties, you would see like a lot of pimps, I guess, PIMPs, and, the concubines that were with them. And, they would hear a lot of Donna Summers in the background. Oh, let's love you, baby. So he's sitting here like 12 years old with his mother and his father dancing. Pretty sure there's white lines everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Booger sugar everywhere. And that's how Tim talked about the parties and the hustle days that he used to be in Harlem with Diddy and his mother. And believe it or not, they say Diddy was not abused, but was bullied as a child. Okay. And his mother didn't play that. And his mother was like, listen, if somebody like abuses you, fight them back. And they would be like, so then they would say like, Diddy wouldn't just like, squabble up. You know how we get our squabble on? No, he would be like biting and kicking and punching and scratching and getting to working on people. So that's what he was doing. So he wasn't lying. What's teen? So, okay, so let's just let me give you a really quick wellness perspective, okay? Because while I was watching this, I was like kind of like going in my mind and not like diagnosing, but just kind of like getting an understanding. I'm not giving Diddy a pass. I'm just getting an understanding. But so what I wrote like for my like, wellness perspective is I just like believe that the documentary, what it was doing, it was painting a picture because they said that in the documentary, like Diddy's mother would abuse, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Combs when he was young, but she denied all allegations when they tried to talk to her about it. She denied any allegations of abuse, but Tim, the childhood friend, was saying, no, this really happened. I watched her beat him. So she denied it though. And so this really goes into like the trauma of like how your childhood trauma can get carried out in your adult years if it's not being properly managed. And what we mean by properly managed, Black people, you know, I understand gentle parenting sometimes may not work, but a child shouldn't be smacked around everywhere and thinking that that's okay. And then not to say that that same child shouldn't go to any type of therapy, counseling to understand that the years and years and years of can affect you as an adult. So that's just a little sprinkle of wellness right there. Okay. So for all you people that may think like, oh, it's okay. I got to beat. Oh, I don't want to say beat, but I got a beat or I got hit. I got smacked by my parents. If it was one too many times, you may want to talk that out. Okay. So yeah. So so let's go back to the docuseries. That was in the docuseries. You can see the picture that they're painting. Thanks, 50. But anyways, going back to the docuseries, Diddy wasn't making enough money with Andre Harrell. So what happened is he had to promote his own parties like around Harlem and around areas that he used to live in, probably the Bronx and Harlem. I'm gonna put the Bronx in there because I'm from the Bronx. And that's kind of like how he got his like street name, like he was a party promoter. So at one of the parties, Diddy met a girl who he happened to be working kind of like she was a part of like the party promotion club and that Diddy was in. And this is actually one of maybe the first people that sued. I don't know if it's the first woman that actually sued, but it's one of the first people that sued. She met Diddy. Her name is Joy Dickerson Neal. She's actually in a documentary too. Again, all of this is spoiler alerts. Joy Dickerson Neal met Diddy around 1989. And they kind of just meshed well with each other, did the party scene, promotion scene. And one day they said that they were partying all night. And this is in the 90s. So in 1991, they were partying all night. And Diddy was like, yo, after the party, he was like, yo, like, let's come with me to this video. And I need you to be my video girl. And he was in one of these old school videos. I'm gonna get the name of it, but it was one of these old school artists, and he was like kind of like playing a pimp. And the girl was kind of like in the car with him, and she was just like, yeah, whatever, whatever, whatever. And then she got out the car, and then Diddy was just like, yeah, whatever. And so this is like a real video, and that girl is she's in the docuseries. Turns out she was SA'd. Diddy videotaped it, and he used to show these videos with like to his friends. So not only was he in 1991 as saying, this is what the woman said. I don't even want to say allegedly because the woman actually said this. He was videotaping it and showing it to his friends. And this is in 1991. Catch my drift. Catch my drift. So, like I said, in this docuseries, you really dig a little bit deeper into the small, fine details of Diddy, and 50 Cent really carries it out really nicely. So let's go into, okay. a little bit after that, Diddy had like this really big event. Now, I did hear about this event and I did see this in other docuseries. So some of them, so that's another thing that's repeated information. But there was like a basketball game that Diddy like promoted because again, he was like a party promoter and he wanted just to have an event just for, people to show up and join. So he's like, let's just do a basketball game. And it was kind of like a charity type thing. And he asked celebrities to get into it. And they did. And it was sold out. It was oversold. And what happened was people started to bum rush the front because you purchased your ticket and you couldn't get in. So once they started bum rushing the front, as they tackled forward, a few people, it was a stampede, and a few people got trampled on. And as a result, they were unalived. And this is something that ended up on the news. So Diddy's like in a press conference saying, in a press conference in New York in the 90s, early 90s, I just wanted to do something so people can just, have a place to kick it and all this and just have a party for ourselves. And, this is how Diddy actually got famous. Can you believe that? Let me say, now I'm going to say this. We get on people like Krishan Rock and things like that kind of built, or people that get on Zeus and things like that kind of built their fame off of tragedy. But really, we should just be telling these people to history repeats itself and to watch themselves, because Diddy became famous off of tragedy. People were unalived at this promoted party that he did. So as a result of this promoted party, he started to become famous because he was on television. He was known as the guy that threw the party that unalived a couple of folks. And once he became famous, he started to have a name for himself. And they said, this is where Puff Daddy came from. Because, the first name was Puff. Puff Daddy came from this. So that's something else. So his stardom came from tragedy. How about that? And look how it ends. 50 months in jail. So that's the beginning of Puff Daddy. He continued to work with Andre Pharrell. And he picked up a couple of acts like Jodeci, Mary J. Blige, because they had Uptown. And what he did for Jodeci and Mary J. Blige was he gave them the swag. Like he gave them the baggy pants, don't lace up the Timbs, the hats, the jerseys. He gave them all of that. And then he also introduced the remix to them. So he said there was a DJ that used to mix R&B and rap together, and he used to attend these parties. And so he took the inspiration to do an actual DJ set. So that's where I used to love those songs back in the day. I'm not going to lie. I used to love those songs back in the day. You know that you remind me of a love that I once knew. Love. Okay. I love them songs. Anyways. Okay. He also worked with EPMD. EPMD. And this is where Diddy met Justin Combs' his mother, his first baby's mama. Misa. I think her name is Misa. Correct me if I'm wrong down here. And that was Eric Sermons from EPMD's, the rapper, the green eyes. His girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend. How about that? And yeah, that's kind of crazy. So Diddy started to smell himself a little bit when it came to Andre Harrell. And so Andre Harrell ended up firing him. And Diddy was on his own. But by the time, again, he had a name for himself. He had the jobs. He was changing people's lives. Side note, Eric Sermon was actually the one on Mary J. Blige's first album, was the 411. He was the talker. Didn't know that. I mean, I kind of knew that, but it's funny to see again. So Diddy was fired by Andre Harrell. But he found Notorious B.I.G. and he signed him to Uptown, where Andre Harrell owned. Andre Harrell said, okay, you can go and you can take Biggie with you. And so he took Biggie with him. And Diddy started to shop around for other record labels, and he came across Arista Records. And guess who was on the top of Arista Records? Clyde Davis. This is where they say Andre Harrell, Clyde Davis, industry stuff. Stay woke. They say he learned this in this industry stuff. Stay woke. Anyways, he saw Clyde Davis. He introduced him to Biggie, and then Bad Boy started. Biggie was the first album of Bad Boy. Okay. So Diddy, they called Diddy in the documentary a paper gangster. And the reason why they called him a paper gangster, because they were saying like something about he really wasn't really from the streets, but he would pretend to be from the streets and do little street stuff. So they called him a paper gangster. But at times he would do real gangster stuff, like for real, like real gangster stuff. So it just didn't really, that's just Diddy's persona. He wasn't really in the streets, but he would do street stuff and he would be considered a paper gangster. There was one incident, Eric Sermon from EPMD had said, oh, I remember like I was outside talking to my ex, and this is Diddy's baby. And he said he punched him in the face or something like that, and then turned and then say, no, come here. And then you had him listen to Juicy at the same time, which is crazy because you sit there, you get punched in the face, and then you turn around and say, listen to the song. And that seems to be a running thing with Diddy. Diddy always like does stuff and just be like, nah, it's cool, we good, move forward. And it's like, how are we moving on? You just hit me, but he's a weirdo. Okay, so this is when things kind of took a turn for me. Maybe not a turn for everybody else, but a turn for me. Biggie and Tupac were really, really close. Biggie actually sent Tupac his album before it came out, Ready to D.I.E. Can't say that on YouTube. D.I.E. Before it came out. So they had a really close relationship. They said if Tupac went on tour, Biggie went with him. They were always close together, and you would see pictures of them together hanging out. And they say Diddy was jealous of Tupac and Biggie's relationship, which is the initiating start of Tupac's demise. I know. I said the same thing. I said, look at this, Bob, and look at Diddy being the reason for Tupac's demise. Okay? Given the illusion that the reason for Tupac's unaliving may be Diddy's fault, that's how it ends of part 1. Again, I'm going to watch part 2 tomorrow, and then I'm going to do a synopsis on it. But all in all, this was a great docu-series, and I highly recommend, just based off of part 1, that y'all watch it. Okay? So again, this is The Reckoning docu-series by 50 Cent. 50 Cent, you the man. You get my love as one New Yorker from Queens to the Bronx. I love you. And I'll get in part 2 tomorrow. Thank you from Mrs. Sprinkle of Wellness.